Mr. Speaker, among the many flaws of the NFAT review designed by the Premier is the glaring and intentional omission of Bipole 3.
Yeah, no kidding.
At last week's independent review of Manitoba Hydro, there were discussions of compact line technology, a diagram of which I table now. Compact line technology is developed here in Manitoba and uses poles slightly larger than telephone poles currently along highways to pass the 500 kilovolt, 2300 megawatt direct current line over these lines. I asked the Premier, why is he avoiding these less intrusive, environmentally more sensitive compact line over the large hydro poles currently planned for Bipole 3?
Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the question from the member opposite because he knows full well the history of the bipole story is that 70% of the energy comes down two transmission lines which are very close to each other through the interlake. And in 1996, we lost that system for a brief period of time, which put the entire economy at risk. This is a $62 billion economy. To have the hydro lines, which are very close to each other, go down would cost the Manitoba economy over $1.5 billion a week. So with the recommendation of Hydro, we've built additional transmission capacity called Bipole 3. That will increase the reliability for our domestic economy dramatically. The lights will stay on in Manitoba. People will be able to have electricity in their homes, in their communities, and in their businesses. We're proceeding with that when the members opposite did nothing. They ignored the problem, did nothing about it. We now need to proceed with a growing population and a growing economy to provide more electrical reliability in Manitoba. And if there's a new technology that the member opposite thinks would serve us well, I'd be happy to submit it to Hydro for their consideration.
Mr. Speaker, it's been submitted to Hydro. Furthermore, the compact lines, because they're lower, are less susceptible to windstorms and such outages. Mr. Speaker, for farmers, having the traditional very large and high hydro lines running through their fields hinders their ability to seed or to spray their fields using aerial spraying or, in fact, using on-the-ground innovative automated equipment. Now, with compact line technology and the line running along the road, this just isn't an issue.
Nope.
Why is the Premier not going to use compact line technology in farm areas to avoid intruding into farmers' fields and making farming difficult for farmers in Manitoba?
And Mr. Speaker, Hydro has gone out and consulted with the communities where the transmission line is proposed. In many cases, they've gone out and consulted those communities. In many cases, those transmission lines have been changed in terms of the exact paths they follow in order to accommodate the concerns of producers and farmers in that area. And Mr. Speaker, they have also in Manitoba, under this government, received the same rate for their hydroelectricity that people in Winnipeg get. There was a time when the members opposite were in office that they paid a higher rate in rural Manitoba. We made that rate uniform for all Manitobans, the lowest rates in North America, and now with additional reliability, we can ensure that the economy stays strong and the lights stay on. If there's a new technology, the member from River Heights says it's been submitted to Hydro, we can look forward to the response on the appropriateness of that technology to address the reliability issues for a high-voltage direct current in Manitoba, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the Premier seems to believe too often, mistakenly, by the way, that people and companies outside the province are better than Manitobans. And this is why he gave untendered contracts to an Alberta company recently and sold our property registry without a call for proposals to Ontario company.
Yep.
It also explains the intentional exclusion of Bipole 3 from the NFAT review to ignore the less environmentally intrusive technologies, as is explained in this report I tabled from Dennis Woodford. I asked the Premier, is he going to continue to reject technologies designed and developed in Manitoba like this compact line technology?
Mr. Speaker, on the contrary, not only do we not reject new technology, Manitoba had virtually no geothermal electricity and heating and cooling in Manitoba when we came into office. We now have 40%. We have now 40% of this technology. 40% of this technology
is now in Manitoba when we're 4% of the population. Manitoba Hydro is always required to stay open to new ideas and new technologies. They are the world leader on high voltage direct current technology. Manitoba is the world leader on transmitting electricity as efficiently as possible over long distances to serve the people of Manitoba. They will continue to do that. We expect them to take a look at any new technology which is presented and make a judgment and give an opinion on whether that is a better way to go. In the meantime, instead of stalling, which members opposite wish to do, we need to build it. We're running out of power in 10 to 12 years. We do not want to have to be an exporter, an importer of power. We want to be an exporter of power. We want to keep the lowest rates in North America. The members opposite want to turtle, not build it, and put the economy at risk, Mr. Speaker.